have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed.
What would it take to change the world? The ultimate question at hand. I mean, what would it cost you? What sacrifices would it demand?
And segregation forever.
How far would you be willing to go to see everything work out as planned? I couldn't give you an answer, but I know a man who sacrificed everything to take a stand. Martin Luther King Jr., originally named Michael, named after Martin Luther, the one with 95 theses who translated the Bible. Born January 15th, 1929, son of a preacher man and a strong mother. He was the middle child, born at a time when race relations were more than just a little foul. I mean, by then, it had only been 66 years since the Emancipation Proclamation, so blacks were treated horrifically all across the nation. You had the Jim Crow laws that enforced segregation, limited access to voting, housing, and education. It was devastating. See, blacks were often beaten beyond recognition, tarred and then feathered. Mobs would get together for a lot of the lynchings. Unspeakable acts of violence too many to mention. And you'll see why Martin's voice was so important in order to change these conditions. See, Martin was intelligent. Before starting school, he could read with ease. He skipped a bunch of grades, started going to college when he was 15. By 26, he earned his doctorate. He had 3 degrees, and during these years, he met Coretta, his queen-to-be. Dr. King, pastor and husband, despised the state of hate that the world was sitting in, how people were divided and blacks were treated like third-class citizens. So he became an activist, a pacifist who refused to use violence in order to support civil rights. He organized boycotts, marches, and protests. He did what was right even when things would go left. He chose picket signs over picking fights. Despite his nonviolence, they still put him in jail, and they used police dogs and water hoses to make the protesters' spirits frail. In Selma, they beat them senseless, billy clubs to their faces. They chased them down on horses and threw tear gas with no hesitation. And they had no problem hitting women either. It was shameless. It was so violent that Bloody Sunday is what they named it. But 2 days later, led by Martin Luther King, they marched again. Now this took courage because blacks asking for equal rights from whites was practically a death sentence. On a courthouse lawn, they shot Lamar Wright in broad daylight. The killer went free because dozens lied about what they witnessed. Martin was on the KKK's hit list. He was spit on, hit with, clenched fists, death threats that wouldn't even spare his kids. They bombed his house where his family was. They tried to take all of them out because they thought it would make him quit. But Martin said, "We shall overcome. Because I have a dream that includes freedom for all. And that character, not skin color, should be what decides who people are." But unfortunately, he would never get to see his dream even evolve. And if it wasn't for Dr. King then, today, I probably wouldn't even be speaking to y'all.
But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for rights. So just as I say, we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.